Good. The next one we have is Love Letters, and it's just Rose. Do you mind if I read that one? Because you've been reading a lot of narration. I want to give you a little bit of a break.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna. Oh fuck! But Okay. Can you go over the text
I
real quick while I
can
go get some
introduce it.
water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I can't
Um.
scroll.
All right. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat too,
Yes.
just for
Turtles
funsies.
are dogs.
Yes, turtles are dogs, indeed.
Turtles like
Um,
pizza.
they do like pizza. The next one we have up is Love Letters in Digital Ink by Tactful Nostalgic. This is a little bit of an older fic. It's from 2017. It's one that we had once upon a time started to read, and then we didn't read it for a very long time. So we're going to read it again. This is a primarily Rosemary fic. It's a human, I believe, human stuck AU. So we have relationships are Rose and Kanaya, Dave and Karkat, minor mention. Shoes on the other foot now, motherfuckers. Whatever that means. Probably Dave Cat, Rosemary reference. Characters, we have Rose, Kanaya, Roxy, Rose's mom, aka Beta, Roxy Lalonde, Porim, the Dolorosa, Dave, and Karkat. Tags include alternate universe, no Spurb Scrub sessions, POV, Rose Lalonde, blog format, teen romance, Rose is a mess and I love her, the dreaded first person POV. No, wait, don't leave. Trust me, I got this. Yeah, it's good. It's long, but it's a lot of chapters, so we're going to read this one. Did y'all read the Case of Angus MacDonald? We did not get to the Case of Angus MacDonald yet. We have read the 5 Years by Sulphur Breath, I Run Away from Myself by me, and we just read The Final Destination by Kid is Great. We are now reading Love Letters in Digital Ink. We got a couple, and then we're going to hit Case of Angus MacDonald. Description of this summary. Yeah, I'm just responding to chat here.
Okay.
Yeah, this fic is good. A summary in which Rose Lalonde runs a highly successful occult blog, wherein she talks about life, friendship, family, summoning the dark forces to do your bidding, romance, and other typical teenage things. And in which Kanaya Mariam moves into the house next door, runs a mildly popular photojournaling fashion/cosplay blog, and, unbeknownst to Rose, is one of her most avid readers. And in which a summer courtship is performed through a series of message board shenanigans, misunderstandings, daydreaming, awkward romantic overtures, indirect love letters, and one seance. Apparently it's being translated into Russian too. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still active or not. And I will be doing this one because it is all Rose.
Hell yeah.
It's not a super long chapter either.
Rose blog post.
Chapter 1. Date, June 5th, 2016. Weather dry. Mood contemplative. News. Generally assumed, as it might be, that your average suburban residence is devoid of spiritual energy, and given the particularly curious nature of which I am possessed, it is only natural that an individual such as myself would seek to draw back the metaphorical curtain dividing this reality from the next, and engage, inasmuch as anyone may, with the world beyond. That is to say, I have purchased some new candles for my next ritual, and they are quite pleasing. My mother accompanied me to the store at her own insistence. As you know, Roxy usually accompanies me on my trips, but today she was accompanied with her friends. They went to the mall together, apparently, on one of their periodic trysts to Hot Topic. I do believe the only person who ever buys anything there is Dirk, and even then, expressly for ironic purposes, or so I am led to believe. So there is no reason for the rest of them to go, but they do anyway. The whims of the elderly are truly fascinating. But back to the story. My mother drove at least 5 miles under the speed limit for the duration of our trip, despite my urging otherwise. I informed her, with as much courtesy as one could imagine anybody summoning under such circumstances, that she was under no obligation to slow her usual speed on my behalf. But she denied this. I suppose I may commend her for her dedication to safety. But the commendation would be quickly rescinded in light of the fact that the trip took 7.4 minutes longer than it did, on average, when Roxy drove me. Think of what someone of my prowess could do in 7.4 minutes, and you will understand my frustration, I trust. The selection of candles is a difficult process. Ultimately, I went with lavender, although sage was also tempting. Lavender is a soothing healing herb, and the candle's scent is truly magnificent. While I was there, I also ordered a new set of selenite wands, for mine have grown dull with use. My mother gave me a discerning look when I made the request, but complied nonetheless. Truly, she is queen and mistress of passive-aggressive expression. I can only hope and pray to one day achieve the same mastery of the art as she. The selenite should be coming in a few days, so I will attach some pictures then. Aside from that, I am still making preparations for the grand ritual. Should all go according to schedule, the estimated date of execution will be at some point in early July, pending further developments. Questions answered. In response to @Colorfish Colors' question about Ouija, the answer is no, you cannot substitute a magnifying glass for a planchette, convenient as it may be. I'm not sure of the result of such an exchange, but it would not function the same way as a properly assembled Ouija session. I can assure you of that much. Please proceed with caution in your dealings with the other world. This is no joking matter, and attempting to make cheap exchanges instead of employing quality materials can have very real consequences for you and your dwelling. Need I remind you of the horrors that were unleashed on @Terminally Capricious's bedroom when they attempted a summoning without properly acquired animal blood? I don't think any of us have forgotten, have we? In response to @Terminally Capricious's question about what went wrong in their summoning, if the recipe calls for goat blood, you use goat blood. I don't want to know what you did to that cat, and I will block you if you send further questions about it. In personal news, the house next door, after years left uninhabited, has finally found a buyer. It appears to be a single mother with 2 daughters, all of whom are unreasonably beautiful and irritatingly cheerful. The mother tends to wear various shades of green at all times. This is not the only thing I noticed about her, but it is the only thing I will post here, for the safety of my younger readers. The 2 daughters look to be about 3 years apart in age. I attempted to be discreet in my observations, but Roxy, being helpful and horrendous in equal measure, snapped a photo and sent it to me for further perusal. I scolded her properly for photographing strangers without permission, but also saved the photo on my desktop. So I suppose both of our ethics are imperfect. The older daughter looks about 17, 18 at most, and has elaborate black tattoo sleeves. She also has a number of piercings in her nose, septum, ears, eyebrow, lip, and exposed belly button, the total count of which I will cautiously put at around 12. Her clothes tend to be revealing and black. She looks like the kind of person with whom I would rob a Walmart, if you understand my meaning. The younger is closer to my age. She is significantly less risque than her sister, prone to modest clothes and with shorter hair, no tattoos, nor unorthodox piercings, although she does wear several large rings. Her sense of fashion is impeccable. I would almost doubt that she dresses herself, given that at 16, or somewhere around there, I have never seen any other with quite such a grasp of color theory and silhouette design, excepting, of course, myself. Her hair is bobbed and black, and her eyes are very green. These have been my observations. I considered introducing myself, but ultimately decided against it. After a long day of moving, they are probably quite tired, and in no mood for a session of small talk and meaningless pleasantries. They look like the kind of people who appreciate in-depth discussion of complex subjects, which I cannot provide just now, absorbed as I am in preparations for the grand ritual. However, I intend to introduce myself at one point in the near future, just not today. Foxy bears no such hesitations. She barged over and virtually invited herself into their home. I was, frankly, astonished at their hospitality. She came back with eight selfies and told me that the younger one is my age. Apparently her name is Kanaya. An odd name, but a pretty one. Arabic, perhaps. I will look it up later when I can be assured of browsing privacy. Mother tells me I should bring a gift when I go over. She suggested I bake something. I was astonished at her insensitivity. Mother, I said, what if one of them is gluten intolerant? What if they have a deadly allergy? What if they are on a low-sugar diet? And what you assume to be an act of generous goodwill comes off as a grim promise of future rivalry. She told me that I was being silly, so I went up to my room and attempted to communicate my silent disdain for her lack of regard for common courtesy. Roxy came into my room by and by and asked me if I was all right, to which I replied that I was, and I was in the middle of writing a blog post. She left me alone after that. Which brings me to right now. Interesting fact. Looking through the window of my room, I can just see into the younger daughter's room in a house adjacent to ours. Nothing indecent, of course. The majority is hidden from view, but if I crane my neck correctly, I can see a full 4 square feet of her bedroom, into which she will occasionally stray. I try not to indulge in this practice often. It verges dangerously on creeper territory, but I thought it was important to note that such a feat is possible. Only possible. Next time, I will review my new selenite wands and probably perform a tarot reading. It will vary. It will depend greatly on my mood. As always, the inquiry box is open. Feel free to solicit advice on any and all supernatural feats that you have witnessed or seek to witness. Have a good evening, readers. Tentacle Therapist. Thank you for telling the world, Rose. Yeah.
Rose is like, I'm gonna dox my neighbor real fast, NBD.
Right. just no big deal. Also, hold on. I'm gonna get some more water.
Yeah. Yeah, I also, this water's important when you are reading. But, God, I really like this fic. Miles. I've already left kudos here. Presumably I've read this, like, yeah, this is like the 4th or 5th time I've read this.